Hey, Tom here, FlipAnythingUSA. So, this election is just going, it's just one of the worst we've ever had, right? Uh, so today I'm looking at, Meet Kevin came out and he's been doing a lot of commentary, basically re-reporting the news and, expressing some of his takes. It looks like he's just trying to be pretty just reporting the news basically that's already been reported. But I always got more opinions on things and how people their takes on certain things. I've been around a long time. I've been an investor for 40 years and I've been politically active just as long. And I don't like it when crooked politicians and there's just so much corruption at so many different levels. But anyway, let's get into this video and we'll talk about it. Okay, so Kevin's got this latest video of his, and out here, and anyways, let's just take a look at it. Let's just go ahead and start it.
Hey everyone, me Kevin here. I'm going to provide a quick election update. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, after all, speaks and releases a Fed statement. The statement comes out in 20 minutes and then he's speaking after that, so we're going to get to that next. But for right now, I want to give you an update on the lawsuits going on with the election. Remember last week, Trump and the GOP filed a lawsuit in Texas. They wanted to throw out basically ballots that were cast through 10 to 11 different drive-through polling places. Well, a judge rejected that lawsuit within like 36 hours, which is really fast when we think about it, because usually we think lawsuits are slow. Well, just a bit ago, within this last hour here, a judge responded to a Trump lawsuit filed in Georgia. The lawsuit suggested that dozens of late ballots were basically mixed with on-time ballots. And the Supreme Court last week said that we should segregate. If ballots come in after a certain time, they should be set aside, so that way... I'm
going to speed this up a little bit. I'm sure you'll be able to keep up, but we can cover a lot more territory that way. So, look, there are crooked, deceiving judges out there, and I'm going to show you one of the worst regarding ballots. And let's take a look here.
We can sort of determine which ones are going to be legitimized or not. Well, this lawsuit alleges that these were mixed up. And so Trump's campaign is basically saying, hey, pause the count, let's figure this out. And a Georgia court just ruled, quote, "The court finds there is no evidence that the ballots referenced in the petition, a petition is just a lawsuit, were received after 7 p.m. on Election Day, thereby making those ballots invalid." This was in Savannah, Georgia, and that actually means the court would have had to have done some kind of research to actually make a ruling like that. So, which is surprising because this lawsuit was just filed yesterday. It's moving very quickly, which is a good thing for the legal system to move quickly. We hate it when the legal system's slow. You hear lawsuit and it's like, oh yeah, 2 years, right? Nobody got time for that. Then in Michigan, also within the last hour here, Michigan's Court of Claims just said that the judge, quote, plans to deny a request to stop the counting of Michigan ballots. So this is a lawsuit from the Trump campaign trying to stop counting ballots in Michigan.
And so look, there's good reason for that, because if they're printing ballots after the fact, let me just show you something here. This is a Philadelphia, right? And of course we got problems in Pennsylvania as well. This guy here just pleaded guilty, okay? He's a former judge of elections, Democratic committee person from South Philadelphia. He's pleaded guilty to accepting thousands of dollars in bribes to inflate the vote totals for 3 Democrats. This stuff happens, folks, and rarely do they get caught, and rarely do they go to jail for it. But he says right here, this is what he admitted to: pleaded guilty to conspiracy to deprive Philadelphia voters of their civil rights by fraudulently stuffing the ballot boxes for the judicial candidates and for other candidates. And of course, and what's the result? Let's see here. Anyhow, So DeMuro fraudulently stuffed the ballot box by literally standing in front of a voting booth and voting over and over and over as fast as he could. Now, just imagine having the ballots to yourself, where you can sit there and just run them and run them and run them. Sometimes they're very slow there, or have a team of people doing that. It's anyways, I think where Kevin's going with this, he's saying it's like these judges are saying that, oh no, this can't be. It doesn't. It's not even possible to do these things. But the fact is, it is possible, and they do it. But let's keep listening.
Michigan court also said, quote, the counting boards have completed their function. Quote, the ship has really sailed on the relief they're requesting in this case, which relief is just a way of basically solving a problem. So when you have a problem, you go to a judge and you go, hey, we want an injunction right now. An injunction means stop doing that right now. So for example, we want relief. We want ballots to stop being counted. Judge looks and says, hey, I mean, like, we don't see any issues here. Sorry, we're going to do.
And what they're doing is they're making a placemaker so this can go to the Supreme Court. The bottom line is just because there's no evidence, well, they're not looking for it. They're not looking for evidence of corruption, right? They're not even looking for it. So if they don't examine it, they're not going to find it. So it's really a convenient way to say there's no evidence. Well, okay, so let it fly. But when it's this close, they'll do recounts and they'll do things like that, and then it all comes out. There was Jill Stein. Jill Stein ran for president, I believe, in 2016. She didn't like the tally on the ballots that came in on whatever, maybe it was, I forget what it was, some part of the election. Anyways, so she did. I paid for a recount, cost her $3 million. And when she did, there were hundreds, if not thousands, of votes for Trump that actually came out that had not been counted originally. It didn't help her, but it just shows you. Listen, they know you guys. You've seen them do the tallies on the votes, right? And you're going, I don't understand. You see they've only counted 25% of the district votes, and they're calling a winner, okay, or 50%. And they're saying this guy won, and you're going, what? And even though the other candidate's ahead, they're saying the other one won. Okay, well, the reason is because they know that the different districts, how heavy they lean toward one, party or another. So they can already make a mathematical guess. It's not hard to figure out that if 68% of that county, and they know the history on them voting is, left-leaning or right-leaning, they're going to know how many more votes are coming in with a certain amount of, accuracy, and so they can determine winners. Well, guess what? That's what they can also do. They can go pick up ballots from certain counties and go, here, let's throw half of these away because we know 70% of them are for Trump. Or they can go in and they can just fraudulently create ballots, because they had a lot of unsolicited ballots. So normally you request a ballot so you can mail it in. They're sending them to everybody. They're sending them to everybody sometimes 2 or 3 times, it appears. So people can fill out a ballot more than once, or somebody else can fill out your ballot. So it is, they know this is a nightmare, and they knew this was coming, and so a lot of these things were filed in advance. So, like I say, you've already got a guy in Philadelphia, okay, that's at the top. This is the guy, the top guy. He's going to jail. I think he's already been sentenced, and so look, it's to believe that it's outrageous that there can be cheating. Listen, it's been going on forever. They dumped ballots. I know. I saw a tweet earlier today that said basically they had closed the polls in Wisconsin and said, hey, we'll start counting tomorrow. Everybody go home. Well, not everybody went home, and they found these guys bringing in ballots, suitcases of ballots, and also bringing in ice chests full of ballots. And guess what? Where'd they come from, right? You may see more ballots than there are people in the damn city. So we're going to get to the bottom of it. I think Trump won. I really do. You just look around. You've seen the enthusiasm, how many people show up. Tens of thousands of people showing up at a rally. And you got Obama and Biden showing up, and they don't even get 40 people, okay? And that's with the ex-president. I mean, there's no enthusiasm for the guy whatsoever. They had to steal it. It's the only way they can. And they had every poll showed that Biden was ahead before we went in. And look how close it is. I mean, 10-point spread's ridiculous. It's all BS that he's got everybody against him, including half the Republican Party, because Trump really isn't a politician. And by the way, I've met Trump, talked to him, shook his hand. He's a heck of a smart guy. I can tell you, brilliant, bright, charismatic. Met Rudy Giuliani as well. And they are fantastic business people, and that's what we need, and that's why we have such a great, that's why we have such a roaring economy like we have right now. Anybody wants to say that that's attributed to Obama is crazy. Obama didn't lower your taxes. Trump did. Obama didn't raise the tariffs on the Chinese and bring in all that income. Trump did. So there's a lot of reasons we're doing well, and he's getting rid of regulation. And believe me, I own multiple companies, and my company has been getting killed by China. It's unfair. They copy my crap that I make, and then they copy it, and then they sell it into this country for cheaper than I can make it. And then if I make a competing product and send it over there, they tax the shit out of it, so it can't even be competitive. So anyways, I've got a lot of experience in a lot of different things over the many years, and so I just want to put some balance on some of this stuff. But Kevin, you're doing a good job. I think he mostly is staying in the middle. But let's just listen.
Deny this. This is happening very, very fast, which is good because we don't ultimately want this election to drag on.
Yeah, agreed.
Half of us want one candidate, half of us want another candidate, but the last thing we want is this to go on until January. We've already got the runoff to be worried about in Georgia because we could end up with a 50-50 House, 50-50 Senate split, which would be problematic because, basically.
Yeah, because our taxes are going to go up if we don't retain the Republicans. Guess what? Taxes are going up.
I guess I shouldn't say it would be problematic. It would just be very interesting because we'd be in a situation then when Democrats would essentially be sweeping. Because
and let me just clarify right now. I don't identify myself as a Republican. Okay, I'm a conservative. Of course, to me, I can tell you right now, both parties are scum. On Capitol Hill, both parties are really one party. It's a duopoly. They run the whole country with two parties. We need a third party. But there's a way to get to that, and I'm going to talk about that sometime soon. But let's keep watching.
Kamala Harris could break ties in the Senate. Anyway, this judge over here in Michigan mentioned, quote, "What I have at best is a hearsay affidavit, I believe, that addresses a harm that would be significant, but that's what we got." This is what the judge said. Quote, "We've got an affidavit that is not firsthand knowledge." And so here's basically how an affidavit works. An affidavit is basically like you literally just picking up a piece of paper and saying, I think something, or I saw something, or I'm attesting to something.
And it's not usually admissible either.
You swear to that, excuse me. And that's important because if you lie in court, then that's perjury, right? So an example of that could be like, quote, "I saw someone stuffing ballots into their pants with Trump's name on it." And then they sign a sworn statement that this is true. Then the judge here is saying, well, it doesn't look like we have any firsthand knowledge of this happening, which really means the affidavit may have said something like, "I heard from Johnny that somebody said somebody's stuffing Trump ballots into their pants to throw them away with Trump's name on it."
Okay, so think about that. How many times did Trump get dragged through the coals over affidavits, unsubstantiated statements? Happened all the time. Unidentified sources, right? Mystery sources. They trash the shit out of him over mystery sources. But they'll throw it away when it doesn't work for them. So it's really sad that our leaders are so corrupt. And really, I'm talking about both sides. Believe me, both sides are scum. I don't even consider Trump a politician, to be quite honest. He's a businessman. And that's what's worked so well for all of us. Whether you like him or not, he's done a fantastic job. I know some of the ladies think he's a little bit foul and they don't like his attitude. But the bottom line is, if you're in a war and you got a sniper that's the best shot, you want him on your team regardless of his bedside manner. You want him to, you want that guy on your team, and that's how I feel about Trump. So let's keep watching.
And we need to stop the voting or the vote counting until we can investigate this. And remember, this comes as this morning Donald Trump tweeted, "Stop the fraud," especially since statistically these mail-in ballots that are coming in lean in Biden's favor. About 53% of the ballots coming in go to Biden from mail-in votes. However, in-person voting heavily leans Trump, about 60%. But those are already counted. So now in Michigan, I believe the affidavit was actually about ballots potentially having come in late. That seems to be where the big issue is like, okay, did these ballots come in by the 7 p.m. election day deadline, or did...
Okay, so let's talk about that. I think it was in Philadelphia, or maybe it was in Wisconsin. I know it was Philadelphia, and that's another one that's being contested. They made the rules that if the ballot signatures don't match the card, the signature card, it doesn't matter. So in other words, somebody can go in there and pretend to be somebody, sign. ID, don't need it. And see, they trash voter ID. They make it as easy as possible for people to subvert the law, and that's what they can do, and that's what they do. And I'm looking forward to the recount because you're going to see Biden's whatever, believe me, 53%, if that's a correct number, you're going to see that probably drop to 35%. They just don't turn out. Anyways, so you'll see that coming, and let's keep watching.
People basically find a box of ballots somewhere and run them in at 9 p.m. And we want those to be illegal and illegitimized. So that's what the Trump campaign is really pushing for here is legal and legitimate ballots.
Yeah, because they might have been made, they might have been made this morning.
And so the big thing here is that these lawsuits are going pretty quickly. And overall, I want to quickly end by mentioning this here. There was an article, and this is, I'm going to just be completely transparent about this. It just has an interesting perspective, though. This is a New York Times article. New York Times leans left. All right, so in fairness, it leans left. But this article mentions how to steal an election, and it talks about how in order to have like a fake voting scheme, they kind of made me think about it. They say someone would basically have to organize potentially as many as 60,000 fake votes in a state that they think is going to be contested, because you can't vote once you know it's contested, because then the election's over. Which means 60,000 people would have to put their licenses and legal identities on the line for fraud, which fraud's
No, they don't. They don't have to do that. That's the problem.
a felony. So really, you would have to find, it's hard to get 60,000 people to sign up for fraud, basically, especially because it's like one vote. Fraud for one vote, like that's tough, right? And so instead, you'd probably have to find like fake IDs or like dead people's socials and stuff like that to actually fake.
They don't require IDs
in the state where it would actually matter, and you'd have to know that before the election. So it was kind of insightful, whether we agree with that or not. I think the big fight, though, what I want to say is the big fight is it's all going to be a matter of the timing. Who voted late by mail? Did they put their ballot in the drop box late? Will those count? Who knows? Also,
if you look at the Philadelphia, and Trump contested this last week, and one of the reasons is that they ruled that if it's not postmarked November 3rd, if it's clearly postmarked November 3rd, then it's good. Or if they got it in the mail that day, then it counted. But they also ruled that if you couldn't read it, that you would still count it. So if you have ones that were done on the 5th and that never even got stamped, or they're on the 4th, or that came in late or whatever, they still count it. You can't, so you understand, they set up everything so you can skirt the law. They've been doing this forever. That way anybody can vote. They don't like voter ID. The Democrats don't. Why? Because you would have to be identified. That way anybody can vote. Even if they're an illegal alien, they could vote. Even from the country, they could vote. They set it up so the rules can be broken. And so when people posture that, it would be impossible, it's ridiculous. It's not true.
So the only thing that I know is that you got to sign up for Webull and get 3 free stocks with the stock trading platform Webull.
There you go. Subscribe to my channel.
Get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes. So that's the update for now. I'm going to jump on over and get ready to do the Federal Reserve video. Thank you so much for the $5 donation. I really appreciate y'all. I've never done an update like this live, so hopefully you appreciated it. Maybe we'll do a Q&A a little bit later when the Fed comes out. Thanks so much for being here, folks. We will see you in the next one. Stay tuned.
I didn't actually realize that was live. Anyways, nice job, Kevin. And so, look, I'm going to go show you guys something else. This is interesting. So, look, this is Michael Moore, okay? We'll run this in high speed, and then I got to go take care of Mama. I got a mother with dementia I'm taking care of. So, check this out. This is Michael Moore. Michael Moore, nobody hates Trump more than Michael Moore, okay? And Michael Moore, I'm no fan of Michael Moore. But I like what he has to say. In as much as he went to it, because like now you look at all these ballots on Trump, all these ballots had Biden way ahead. In other words, the polls before they even started voting. Oh, Biden's ahead by 20, he's ahead by 10. Every one of those turned out to be bullshit. It's much, much, much closer. I mean, Trump's beating and ahead in places that they said he had, these huge margins. They exaggerate the margins so that people don't turn out the vote. And the media's in on this and everything else. So it's great that the polls, but this kind of goes to that. So watch this.
It is way too soon to let the guard down, even with those margins. Award-winning filmmaker and host of the Rumble with Michael Moore podcast, Michael Moore, the one and only, is here to talk about the final push for Joe Biden. Great to see you, Michael.
Good to see you, Michael.
Now, this is a week before the election, by the way.
It's awful news that Biden is ahead by 7 points in Michigan, and I have to fight against this constantly. I need to remind people that the poll back in July said at that point that Biden was ahead in Michigan by 16 points.
Right.
Trump has cut that in half. Trump has tightened virtually every one of these swing states to the point where are they saying this morning it's 5 points ahead. Trump Biden's 5 points ahead in Wisconsin. He's maybe 3 to 5.
See where I'm going with this? Like he said, even after they said he's cut the lead to being only 5 points, it's not 5 points. I guarantee you, he's ahead of Biden. But it comes out in the voting, the actual voting. You can see all these polls are way off. But he recognizes it. Michael Moore, like you're going to see him say, he'll say, you know what? If they say he's ahead 2 points, you better cut it in half. He's ahead of 1, or maybe he's not ahead at all. And he's right. He's right about that. So check it out.
5 points ahead in Florida, 2 points ahead in Arizona. Listen, don't believe these polls, first of all. And second of all, the Trump vote is always being undercounted. Pollsters, when they actually call a real Trump voter, the Trump voter is very suspicious of the deep state calling them and asking them who they're voting for. And it's all fake news to them, remember. So it is not an accurate count. I think the safe thing to do, this is not scientific, I'm just saying from my experience of being a Michigander, whatever they're saying the Biden lead is, cut it in half right now in your head. Cut it in half, and now you're within the 4-point margin of error.
Get rid of it completely.
That's how close this is. That's how desperately close this is. And when you see the Republican running for Senate in Michigan, almost tied with our incumbent Democratic senator,
right?
What is this telling us? And I've pointed out to people too that when he 10 days ago, when Trump had the big rally in Muskegon, Michigan, Muskegon County, over on the west side of the state on Lake Michigan, only 2 counties, go up and down the whole state of Michigan, only 2 counties voted for Hillary on the west side of Michigan in 2016. Muskegon County was one of them. Trump chose not to go to a Trump county because he won the state, if you remember. He went to a Hillary County and had thousands of people there.
Literally thousands, yeah.
Yeah. So, people keep asking me, well, what do you think is going to happen? Because they want the Cassandra because in 2016.
So, yeah, what does that tell you? Gosh, he has support. You can't deny. Look at the crowds that come out for Trump. You can't even you can't even fill a house, a living room with Biden supporters. It's ridiculous.
I don't know how many months it was, 4 months, 5 months before the election, I said that Trump's going to win, and he's going to win by winning Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. And that got me no free entrances to any casinos, by the way. So it hasn't done me any good. But now they expect me to know what's going to happen next Tuesday. And, of course, I don't know. None of us know. But I wake up every morning with the assumption that Trump believes he's going to win, and that's good enough for me. If he thinks he's going to win, then I think he's going to win.
Yeah,
and I'm going to act every minute of today and the rest of the day until I fall asleep after midnight. I am going to be working to make sure he doesn't win because he thinks he's going to win, and I know he's an evil genius, and he's smarter than all of us. And I know people hate to hear that, but I'm sorry. To win the White House by losing the election, that's genius. I don't know how to do that. If I had told you 5, 6 years ago, hey, you guys, I'm thinking of running for president. Now here's my plan. I'm going to lose the vote, but I'm going to win the election. And you'd look at me like, okay, Mike, what are you smoking? So that's how serious I'm taking it. And I'm not just doing that as an exercise, like you said at the beginning, we must all stay on our guard. He's already done it. He's already fooled everybody. And everybody must act right now.
So listen, this is somebody that is an ardent Trump hater. But what he's telling you is true. Trump is smarter. He's nobody's fool. It's because he's a businessman. And anyways, it's just a fact. A lot of what he's saying is absolutely true.
As if this could happen again. And if it does happen again.
So, Michael, let me ask you this, which is that what have you seen from Joe Biden, which is both effective and not effective in that state of Michigan? What is he doing that's better than Hillary, and what is he doing that's maybe similar?
Well, until the announcement last night, he's been doing pretty much what Hillary did. He's come to Michigan a couple of times, but he hasn't, for the last 10 days, I've been putting out there on social media and saying that, where's Joe Biden? Why isn't Biden coming to Michigan? Remember Hillary not coming to Michigan?
See, look at that. Where is he? He's hiding.
You're not going to Wisconsin? Why is Pence here in Flint the other day? Why is Trump in Lansing, Trump in Muskegon, Trump everywhere? Where is Joe Biden? And then, of course, last night, the beautiful news came through that on Saturday, Biden and Obama together again for the first time will be coming together to the state of Michigan. Thank God. So I think Biden, there was that article in Time Magazine a couple, 3 weeks ago about how there's no ground game for Biden. They just made a decision to not, I think obviously for safety reasons, not to knock on doors. But it's really, I'm sorry to be on such pins and needles here, but I think we have to.
Oh, somebody said slow it down. I jumped way
as
ahead.
fact, not as well, they could do this or they could do that.
I know.
Hang on, let me get back to where it was.
I can say that from what I know in Michigan, it's not as wide of a lead as the polls have said that it is. We should treat it with serious caution and have serious respect for our enemy. The way that Patton looked at Rommel. He read his book and he respected his enemy, and that's how he defeated him. To just laugh Trump off and just say he's an idiot and he's a douche and he's whatever, that's just not that's not how we're going to win. Yeah. We're going to win by being smarter than him and being 2 steps ahead of him. Right now, as we sit here, Trump is already in the process of enacting his plan with his evil minions. They have got something cooked up in the next 5 days that because we're not evil geniuses, we might be somewhat geniuses, but we're not evil. So we can't imagine what he's got going, but he will have something going. He's already, I'll tell you what I've already heard from a member of Congress actually told me this, that Bill Barr, by the way, blessings to Mr. Barr, and I hope you recover from COVID as soon as you can. We haven't seen you now for a good, 10 days or so. And I don't mean that facetiously. I don't want anybody to be sick. I don't want anybody to die.
Yeah, to be clear, I don't think he has coronavirus, or at least nobody said he has coronavirus.
Oh, no, nobody.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. I was saying his name because I'm going to tell you what he's up to. Okay. What I think he's up to, what I've heard he's up to with Trump. And then I just thought, where is he? How's he going to enact this plan that I heard about? But basically.
Hey, Keith.
One thought is that the Justice Department is going to send federal marshals. The FBI won't do it. They're going to send federal marshals into Pennsylvania on election day, on election night, and they're going to seize the ballot boxes, the hard drives, and they're going to take control of them and bring them back to D.C.
Michael,
Because
that's I mean,
Didn't
we
happen.
haven't seen any reporting or anything to that effect. We should be very careful about theories like this when floating.
Yeah,
I'm not disputing that.
See, people throw out all this crap all the time about Trump. Just anyways, it's funny.
You can think that, but I just want to be clear.
I do. All right, let's be clear about this. You know that they are evil geniuses, that they have a plan. They do not intend to allow the people of the United States to remove him from the White House. He's already said this.
I don't know if I do know that, actually, Michael.
Oh, even though he's told you.
At least the
he's told
reporter's
you
keeping it
that
straight.
He's not going to trust this election. He's going to take it to the courts. He's not going to leave the White House. And he's demanding now that the vote cutoff has to happen at the end of the day on Tuesday. He said this now, day after day after day. If you really seriously, I mean, I have to ask you with all due respect, after 4 years, if you still have a hard time believing that the worst can happen, because every time he does something and we all say, I can't believe he said that. I can't believe he did that. And then he does it. And then we're all like, what do you mean you can't believe? 4 years of this and you still don't believe?
Keeps his word.
I think we both accept, we very much accept the validity of your view. I just want to make sure we present accurate information here and we don't float any, any theories or ideas that haven't yet materialized. And if it does happen, we'll have you here on the show, I promise.
I think that is so naive to think that for us not to have a legitimate discussion as adults. What are they planning? What are they doing? Let's be prepared for whatever is going to happen on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. We all need to be thinking about that, and we need to be.
Well, here's the plan. We know you guys cheat, and you've already had people in your party that have already gone to jail, convicted for such thing, ballot fraud. So of course we don't trust you. And so we're going to hold you to it. We're not going to let you get away with it. So there's not much you can do to get out of that one, Michael.
Be discussing, well, what if that happens, and what if that happens, or what if that happens? That's all I'm bringing up here.
I think that's fair. We just don't want to float anything out there that we don't have the facts on, as fact, not as like, well, they could do this or they could do that. We want to be careful about making sure that people know what the truth is and what is a speculation.
And 4 years ago, I had no right to say he's going to win Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania.
Good point. Trump is in his head, right? Trump's in everybody's head. He's driving Pelosi crazy, everybody else. Anyways, he's done a great job as far as I'm concerned, and I think it's great for business. And he's lowered your taxes, whether you like them or not. If you make less than $400,000 a year, your taxes were lowered. I had people telling me, "Oh, thank you for the raise." I said, "I didn't give you a raise. President Trump gave you the raise. He cut you." And believe me, those taxes could have been cut by Biden and Obama in the 8 years prior. They never did it. They also let down the immigrants terribly. Baltimore never had more shooting deaths and ever more black-on-black deaths than anywhere under Obama. And Obama did nothing for the black people. He did nothing for them. And so it's just silly. And if you check into it, and the news doesn't report it, but Trump has done a ton for the black community, and he doesn't get any credit for it. They don't print the news. You don't even hear about this guy here. Let me bring this up. This guy here. Look at this guy. This guy here. He's already been convicted. And this is a judge of elections. Falsifying votes, stuffing ballots. I mean, so anyways, listen, there's scum, believe me, there's scum Republicans, there's scum Democrats. Most of them are. And believe me, half of the Republicans don't want Trump because it's not business as usual anymore. They don't get to throw money around and have it circle back. And believe me, it's, you can see already the stuff on Hunter Biden and these other, that's the norm. That's the problem. Nobody wants Biden. I mean, none of the elected officials, they really don't want Biden to get caught feeding millions of dollars, with his influence to his brother and his son. They don't want it because they all do it. They all do it to some degree. Hillary was the worst. She took in $2 billion into her charity. She flew around the country representing our country as a state official, and she had two cards. She had the card that was her state official card, and then she had the other one that was her the Hillary Clinton, charity. And she collected $2 billion in charitable donations. And guess what? All those charitable, and when she didn't get reelected, when she didn't win the presidency, that place dried up. She had to close up the organization. They had no money coming in. They had 17 employees. They got down to 2. I'm sure there's none now, but she's still sitting on a big fat bank account. And what they do is it's just a super turd of a charity. And what they do to sprinkle some dressing on it to make it look better. They give money to AIDS Foundation. Oh yeah, we gave money to the AIDS Foundation. It's a drop in the bucket of the money that they brought in. She used it to take care of her campaign, flying all over the country in her jet, all paid for by basically pressuring people to give her money, or they weren't going to have access and influence. And now look, Biden was doing the same thing. He shut down he fired the one Ukraine guy, or he insisted that he be gone, or they weren't going to bail him out. And so, and Obama was complicit. So it stinks. And they don't want to get caught. That's the other thing. They don't want to get caught. So you can sugarcoat a turd, but it's still a turd. But anyways, that's all I wanted to share. Please share and subscribe. You don't usually get on this topic. Usually all I do is talk about making money in real estate, and that's what I do. I've got a book. I won't even bother showing it to you, but because it's kind of election time right now, right? And we just got to get this thing. I can't wait for these things to get into court that need to get into court. It's gonna just, every time we dig in, and like I say, we're learning about Obama. Hey, we saw about Hillary. We're learning more and more and more about just how filthy, dirty, and disgusting the swamp, as Trump calls it. It really is. It really is a nightmare. Okay, let's read some things. Okay. All right. Okay. Athlon's 2020. To me seems that Trump is really genuinely scared of losing this election here. Yeah, of course he is. He's worried about it being stolen. Once all the dead people vote, I know, it's funny. There's a joke about, she can't believe, this woman's crying, so she can't believe her husband voted for a Democrat. Of course, it was after he died. Okay. There you go. Yeah, you guys are talking about the dead people voting. Oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, it's a hot topic, and look, I hate to offend you if you don't feel the same way I do, but whatever. I'm not offended by, if you hate Trump, I don't care. It doesn't bother me that much. But if you dig into things, you may change some of your thoughts. And we got Liam. Liam says Philadelphia is a cesspool. The only good thing they have to offer are the strip clubs. That's funny. Yeah, I don't doubt it either. So anyways, anybody want to talk about anything? I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to get out of here pretty soon. But anyways, like I say, look at this thing. This is, they're being really careful. And believe me, all those protestations, they're important. And, those filings, the court, the lawsuit stuff, all that stuff's important. Yeah. Trump, I think Trump, he seems like good stock to me. I'll tell you what, he's a sharp guy. Like I said, I've been, face to face with him, talking to him. And in fact, when I talked to him, I remember what I told him. I said, man, I hope you keep that message to the black folks that, what the hell do you have to lose? Because that resonated with a lot of people. And I did a video the other day, that, I was sure Trump's going to win no matter what, but I think black folks supporting Trump would have been the smartest thing they could do, because then they could take credit for him getting elected. And by taking credit for him getting elected, they're going to get a lot more respect from the Democrats in the future, because right now they just get used. They just get used, and their votes, are just taken for granted. Yep. Yeah, we're going to count every vote, every real one, and we're going to get rid of the ones that are, that are illegitimate regarding how he's going to win. Yeah, it's going to end up in the Supreme Court, and that's the good thing is we have 9 people. Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away, and now we've got that seat filled, so we don't have to worry about a tie. Like we've had things tie like 4-4, and then nothing gets done. That ain't going to happen. It's going to be 5-4, or it's going to be more 6-4 or 6-3 or whatever, because we have 9. So it's impossible to have a draw. It's not going to happen. So, anyways, look, if you're interested in real estate, making money, I've got a book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. It's bestseller on Amazon and Kindle, Audible. Urge you to get it. Just go read. You can read the first few pages free, or you can listen to the first few pages free. Just go to Audible. You can listen to it. I think you enjoy it. I've been buying real estate for 40 years. Been doing it a long time. Made a lot of money at it, and I am happy to share with you. I've been doing it I've hundreds of videos, show properties I've bought and sold and profits made. And anyways, screw politics. Let's make some money. Well, the politics can screw you. Believe me, they can really screw you. You want these taxes low as they can be, and you want them to spend as little as possible because, man, they can burn it. They throw it away. Because that's where the money is in politics, is in handing money to people, because they hand a certain amount of, when you're a politician, you got to hand out money. You got to hand out money like crazy. And guess what? You know that when you hand it out, a certain amount of that is going to come back to you in the form of a donation and support. And that's what they do. They hand it out to their friends. The money comes back so they can maintain their power. It's a very comfy life being a politician. Believe me, you get flown everywhere. You get a condo in Washington. You got to have a nice office. You get a nice budget to pay for like up to 8-9 employees a month. I think it's $125,000 credit card they get. They can spend a month. You can have a few mistresses in each city that you have an office, and they do, many of them. And so it's they're seduced by the lifestyle. And they get to live like a billionaire while they're elected. They really do. They get to live like and plus they even get they get a lot of gifts from hedge fund guys and people that are very wealthy. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go. Thanks a lot. I put out a few videos. I did a nice video. I'm going to get up maybe tomorrow. I got a house I'm buying right now. They just dropped the dumpster. I'm going to show you how fast you can just gut a house, clean it, and put it back on the market. And that's what I'm going to do. So you'll see that coming soon. So please share, please subscribe. And whether you hate what I say or not, please subscribe. And you'll like me about the real estate. You may not like me about my politics, but and I'm happy to help you make money. I don't care where you fall. Anyhow, take care.